Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction haunt entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we return this week exhausted.
Yes.
I know for most of you, haunt work has already started and it's ramping up for us too.
Yeah.
And the project this week is putting a permanent roof on our goddamn queue line.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this, building the queue line was a one-day job for us, at least the most of it. I think it took a full weekend, but it was realistically a one-day job.
Right, and we had help.
We had help. Roofing it with an actual real, well, it's not real, it's the corrugated PVC. It's not like, we're shingling it or anything.
Right.
But an actual solid roof is proving to take longer than actually building the fucking queue itself.
Well, and I think if we had done it in the beginning, it wouldn't have taken as long as it has to retrofit it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the mistakes we made with building it, is that we spent all this time and energy thinking about how we were going to structure the queue and build it, how we're going to be able to make it flat packable. Mm-hmm. We had a brilliant design for the queue itself.
Yeah. But
we did not think, even for half a second, about how we were going to cover it.
Maybe half a second.
Maybe just half a second. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we're paying for that now, but luckily we made some good progress this weekend. We should be able to wrap it up pretty soon, I think.
Yeah.
We seem to have solved the worst of the problems.
Right.
So, hoping that we're able just to finish it and move on with our lives. And keep up on the progress of this as the things go along. As I remember, we'll be talking about it at hauntweekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, and Haunt Weekly on Facebook. We are also youtube.com/hauntweekly. That's where all the previous episodes are stored for your convenience. But if you prefer, we're on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or anywhere else that you happen to find your podcasts. Now, this week's episode actually comes as a request. Mm-hmm. And it was Kelly Ray's. I had to scroll down to my notes to see who it was, because I'm tired and I have no memory. Mm-hmm. Who suggested it, and originally I think she had pitched it as, hey, can't you post this on a website or something?
Well, I think we talked about it in a previous podcast, and then she requested the list.
Yeah, so I wanted to do this as an episode, though. I think there's a lot of great stuff to talk about here. As I was going through it, I realized there was a lot I wanted to talk about. So we're doing 10 horror video games for haunters. Mm-hmm. Now, we're going to get into the specific rules of this list in a minute. This ain't no top 10 list of great horror games or anything like that, but 10 games, if you're a haunter, you might want to play because you might learn something from.
Yeah.
All right, but first things first, we have to do conference reminders. It's an odd number. Crystal, do us the honors.
Okay, June 21st through the 23rd, it's Michigan Haunt Fest at the Oaks Campground in Munith, Michigan. Features a community campfire event, make and takes, a campsite decorating contest, and a pancake breakfast. Some of the proceeds benefit the Humane Society. MichiganHauntFest.weebly.com.
All right, after that, it's the Haunter Horde Gathering in Mount Carroll, Illinois at the Mount Carroll Bowling Center on July 27th. There will be a tour of Raven's Grin Inn. If you have not toured Raven's Grin Inn and you can get to this, go. Mm-hmm. That's really all there is to it.
Yeah.
The event itself is only $5 for admission. The tour of Raven's Grin Inn is $15, coincidentally the same price as a ticket.
Yes.
There is free pizza, and there is a bar. You will pay for your drinks, but you get all the free pizza. You can shovel down your throat. Please don't bankrupt them. You only paid $5. Please be nice. But yes, Haunter Horde. That's Haunter HORDE.com for more details. This would be a great tour. I don't know why you wouldn't do this.
Okay, July 27th through the 28th, it's Texas Haunters Convention in Mesquite, Texas, at the Mesquite Convention Center. It'll feature celebrity guests, a meet and greet, and a costume ball. They will be touring Dark Hour Haunted House for their Dog Days of Summer show and a backstage tour. TexasHauntersConvention.com.
If you're going to that one, I encourage you to check out that site and look at the schedule. determine when you want to go to Dark Hour Haunted House. They're doing it multiple nights, and I think the backstage tour is on the last night only.
Yeah.
So just be thinking about that now. All right, after that, August 3rd through the 4th, it's Midsummer Scream in Long Beach, California at the Long Beach Convention Center. Will feature dozens of on-site haunted attractions and experiences, a Hall of Shadows dark zone, as well as a Screaming Room Film Festival, a fashion show, and live theatrical performances. MidsummerScream.org for more details.
Okay. August 6th through the 8th, it's Room Escape Conference and Tour in Nashville, Tennessee at the Music City Center. Tours include Extreme Escape Games, San Antonio Panic Room, Premier Escape Rooms Extreme Escape Game, Perplexium, the Escape Game, Lockout Austin, and 15 Locks. And those are going to be in 2 different sections, so pick your
You can only go to
tour.
4.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bizarre system. There's like an A tour and a B tour each night, and there's 2 nights of tours.
Yeah. So pick your tour, roomescapeshow.com to see what those are.
All right, sorry, getting a little bit of my wah-wah here.
Mm-hmm.
After that, August 23rd through the 25th, it's CreepyCon Halloween and Horror Convention in Knoxville, Tennessee at Jacobs Building, featuring workshops, exhibitors, and a zombie beauty contest. CreepyConKnoxville.com for more information.
Okay, September 6th through the 8th is Mask Fest Horror Hound Film Festival in Indianapolis, Indiana, the Indiana Convention Center. It'll feature mask makers and makeup artists of all types and a film festival. Maskfest.com for more info.
Then finally this week, September 12th through the 15th at the Scarefest, I apologize. It is the Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky at the Lexington Center, featuring Bruce Campbell, Lori Petty, Kane Hooper, Ted Ramey, and more. Thescarefest.com for more info. Get your makeup tips and other help on there. A lot of good makeup stuff and mask-related stuff coming in September. Should be some interesting stuff there. I said the word stuff like 20,000 times there. I don't know what the hell happened. All right, so we're talking... well, first thing is I put it in the notes that we were going to be late.
Yeah.
I'm realizing that may have been premature.
Yes, it was.
But an understandable move, considering what we were working on and how we felt at the time.
Right.
I was pretty convinced we would be too dead to record tonight, so I was giving myself an out.
Yeah.
But we're not. And then it's like I was thinking, and then I put in the notes, this is like the worst kind of haunt work.
Yeah.
Because it's not creepy, it's not scary, it's not super creative,
Nobody's going to notice it but us.
No, nobody's going to notice it but us. It's just something that's got to be done, and it's hard as hell, and it's frustrating as hell.
Yeah. So out there for hours on end.
In the New Orleans heat, to do something nobody will notice, it just has to be done for practical purposes. It sucks.
It does.
0 out of 10 would not do again. Bad Yelp review inbound. But anyways, now we have talked about video games on this show multiple times.
Yes.
We actually did in episode 22 where we talked about it more broadly. Where we didn't really list like specific games or anything.
Right.
We just kind of talked about it more broadly. And then we did episode 109, which was entirely about the game Layers of Fear.
Yes.
Now that game just had a sequel come out.
Yeah.
Like last week or something. It was like really recent. And it appears to be very similar in nature, so I'm stoked.
Yeah.
But I've not played it yet, so no spoilers out there, alright? But yeah, definitely go back and check those 2 episodes out, especially the Layers of Fear episode, because that was a really good talk about aphantasia and haunting along to go with that we did I think the next week.
Right, yeah. No, I'm just trying to figure out if there's a way to do a Pepper's Ghost type thing on an entire room that somebody walks through. All the Layers of Fear, so that whenever you look back at the room you just left, it looks completely different.
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah. So definitely go back and check those episodes. But like we say, Kelly Ray's asked us to do a list of horror games for haunters.
Right.
And I totally dropped the dog on it. I started some of the work on it and never finished it because I'm a haunter and that's what we do. Pick up projects left and right and rarely finish them in a timely manner.
I think it's also a crafter of any kind.
Yeah, a crafter or creative of any type. Yeah, I think it's,
We got lots of projects.
Got projects, baby. And here's the deal. So we're doing it now in a podcast format.
Right.
And what I'll try to remember to do is include links to the games, at least to the Steam store or something.
Right.
As we go through. Probably Steam, because it's what's easily accessible from a computer. Excuse me. I'm actually fighting nasal congestion today for some reason. But anyways, we are definitely avid gamers, but please bear in mind a few things. We only have access to a PC and very limited access to a PS4.
Right.
Also, we're old fuckers with lives.
Yeah.
We got jobs. We ain't got kids.
Right.
But we got a haunt, which might as well be a kid.
Yeah, we've got a haunt. I've got a new business.
I mean, literally, we're struggling to put a roof over.
God.
But Tish. Yes, good night, everybody. 10 minutes in and we've reached the peak. You might as well turn it off now.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So we're going to do 10 games. Now, the rules are this. We have not played all these. There's one or two we've not played, or neither of us have played. So we can only speak to videos we've seen and other things we know about it. Mm-hmm. And also, we're not saying every game on here is good. In fact, we're going to end it with a couple of games I don't think are very good, but I think have very interesting lessons for haunters.
Yeah.
So this is not a top 10 greatest haunter video game, horror video games. It's not that. There's a lot of games I would have definitely included. Mm-hmm. But yeah. We've got a good list going here. Like I said, all these things I think have lessons or something haunters can learn from, which is what I'm shooting for as I compile this list. Also, we're only going to list series rather than individual games. We may mention which are the best games in a series we think, or the best ones to illustrate the point. But, you know, like when we talk about, for example, spoiler, Silent Hill will be mentioned.
Yeah.
We're not doing the whole goddamn, not picking 3 or 4 of the Silent Hill games out. It's the series, all right? All right. It's better for variety, and besides, the whole point is to talk about things you can learn, and since each game tends to have just 1 or 2 lessons, this gives us more variety of points to discuss. Mm-hmm. Make sense? Good rules?
Good rules.
We're also not mentioning Layers of Fear again. You should definitely play that one if you're a haunter, and learn a little bit about confusion and basically what Aphantasia is like, apparently.
As far as not being able to map, yes.
Yeah, as far as not being able to map. It's a very surreal game. I do recommend it. Mm-hmm. And if a haunted house could actually make me feel like that game did, I would be enamored completely.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
All right. Want me to take the first one and then go back and forth, at least through the start? Or do you want me to just take the lead on all of them? We didn't actually coordinate this.
No, obviously.
We're very professional here. No.
Go ahead.
Okay. Game 1 is Amnesia, The Dark Descent. Now, the reason for this is obvious. It's basically that Amnesia basically is a haunted house plus escape room elements.
Right.
Yeah. That's really what it is. There's no combat in it to speak of. There's linear-ish movement with free-roaming puzzles to solve.
Yeah, I actually got stuck at the beginning because I found a different solution to the puzzle that wasn't a solution at all.
Yeah. But the game has a very cool dynamic of light versus dark, where you have to stay in the dark in order to stay alive and hide from the monsters and so forth.
Right.
But you have to be in the light to prevent yourself from going insane.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is. But the game really excels in atmosphere. Oh, excuse me. I knew that was going to come. I'm waiting for that half the episode at this point. The game is realistically all about the atmosphere, but if you go through it and pay attention, it's a very minimalist atmosphere in many ways. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's got stuff to look at and do, but it's not a game that obsesses over every detail.
Right.
You know what I mean? You'll find a bookshelf, but not every book will have a title on it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Things like that. It's a minimalist approach to it. And oftentimes in the game, the terror is more implied than direct. You know, you see a dark hallway, you know something could be in there, but you don't know what.
Right.
All in all, it's a great study for pacing and about how to use your atmosphere. It really illustrates how you can do a lot with lighting alone, basically. It's one of the things I think about, because we always talk about how haunted attractions need to focus more on their lighting and less on necessarily making every detail plumb perfect.
Right. Well, yeah, anything that's going to be lit well, you want to detail that, but the rest of it, nobody's going to notice.
And having that, and that's one thing Amnesia does really, really well, is basically using that combination of light and dark, not only to create the tension between the two, but also to guide on where to go.
Right.
Which is something haunts can do.
Yeah, and it's interesting because a few times we've done it where we've used the light to be where the scare comes from, because everybody expects it to come out of the dark. And I think that's something this game does too. Yeah. You know, as you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah, it's messing with expectations there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. And it's also good at narrative-driven telling that tells a story throughout it, through the details in the game.
Right, you get scraps of
things here and there. The lore builds over time.
Yeah.
And that's something you can do on your own with your haunt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is like, realistically, if you are a haunter, this is probably one of the first video games you need to pick up.
Yeah.
I would say.
If you haven't played it already.
Long story short, it is just that similar to running a haunted house in many ways, or going through a haunted house.
Yeah.
Which is also consequently why so many people say it's that terrifying.
Yeah, it's definitely a good game.
It's definitely a very good game. I really enjoyed it. I did not finish it, mostly because I got pulled away from it by other things. It wasn't really that I was too scared or I got stuck. I just got pulled away. Unfortunately, that happens to me a lot with video games, it seems.
Yeah, me too.
And I wish it didn't. I really wish it didn't. But it does, and so that's when I've got to go back and probably finish someday.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, great game. Check it out. All right, number two. Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay, I know you're rolling your eyes. Five Nights at Freddy's, that's, all millennial BS and all da-da-da-da, every man,
That was like kids stuff.
Kids stuff and all that. It's kids horror. All right. Hear me out on this, because I actually have a theory here. The long story short is the one thing Five Nights at Freddy's does, other than overstay its welcome, because it's on its 25th game or something like that. It's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, you can buy the costumes now.
Go back to the first two. Go back to the first one or the first two. And what they do really, really well in this is making the mundane and childish creepy.
Yeah.
Genuinely scary. And it's like, okay, it's easy to make the Chuck E. Cheese animatronics look creepy if you put them in the dark. Go really study those character models.
Yeah.
Look at how they carve the eyes. Look at the faces and the smiles they have. Look at the actual, way they're designed. And you quickly see, especially when you compare it to actual, Chuck E. Cheese animatronics.
Right.
That they definitely made these more sinister. Very, very stealthily. Do you know what I mean? Very stealthily. It's a very subtle thing, but it worked extremely well. And long story short, it's really effective in terms of making something that ordinarily might be creepy or unsettling to you, because let's face it, they are.
Yeah.
But it makes it something terrifying and genuinely upsetting.
Right. Well, and there's the whole game mechanic of how much battery do you have left to watch the cameras, in that. So it's a great way to build tension too.
Yeah, it is. And that's the other thing I really like about it, is that basically it teaches how to do a horror escape game in its own way.
Yeah.
Because if you think about the protagonist in the game, he's never leaves his booth.
No.
He or she, technically we don't really know, is in that one room.
The character you play.
The character you play is in one room. You never leave.
Nope.
You're controlling security cameras. You're looking outside. And I have never seen a horror-based escape game do something like that.
No.
Where you have security cameras looking outside and stuff's going on, and as the time ticks away in the game, you know what I mean?
Right.
The killer or whatever is getting closer.
Yeah, because you could play that together where you had escape room elements, but you also had to watch to see where something was that was coming for you.
Yeah. That'd be a really cool escape room, actually.
Yeah, it'd put a lot of pressure.
You got to have a goddamn good team for that one, though.
Yeah.
I mean, goddamn good team.
Yeah.
That's 2 games in one, basically, right there.
Yeah, but I also like how, it kind of reminds me of the Weeping Angels, because if you spot them, then they don't.
Yeah, if you hit the flashlights or whatever,
Yeah.
they it's weird. The mechanics of the game are very weird. I've only played the first one, actually.
Yeah.
And I thought it was creepy and cool and interesting. I just couldn't get behind the mechanics, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've given it a try a couple of times.
I liked the aesthetics. I didn't like the gameplay. The gameplay just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But I definitely can see why it's good horror. So a lot of people find this is good horror.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3, a game I do love and enjoy and have very fond memories of, Condemned Criminal Origins.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this may be the first one on the list that even fairly avid gamers might not have played. They probably have heard of it, but might not have played. This is a game that kind of came and went and no one really did anything with it. Didn't really get a lot of attention. It's kind of a shame. Because Condemned is basically a first-person, quote-unquote, shooter, but it's not really a shooter because there's only like 6 bullets in the universe, basically.
Yeah.
You go through the entire game, you get the gun like once, and once you empty it, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because it's entirely melee-based.
Yeah.
Functionally entirely melee-based. And the game has you doing things like ripping pipes from the wall and so forth to bash people with.
Mm-hmm.
And then when those pipes or whatever break, and that's one of the annoyances, they do break way too goddamn easy. But yeah, you take things and you get into like duels, and the AI is incredibly intelligent in the way that it operates. If you start beating up on someone, they'll run away, but they won't run away and die. They'll run away, try to flank you, get behind you, or do something, or just ambush the crap out of you later.
Yeah.
So basically, if you see someone run away, you've got to chase that motherfucker and beat him down. And that more human reaction combined with the visceralness of the melee combat, which is something you don't get a lot of in these types of first-person games,
Right.
it made it very visceral.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the game had a lot of gore in it, but not in the combat.
Mm-hmm.
There were these weird, and that's the other thing, but these weird detective sequences. It's kind of hard to explain, where you're getting clues and stuff. I don't really get it, but you'll stumble upon some pretty grotesque scenes that way. But as far as the violence and the action, it felt visceral. It's the first time that, in a long time, I have done video game violence and actually felt like I was committing an act of violence. I shoot someone in Call of Duty or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's basically laser tag in a computer.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang. You're dead. It doesn't feel visceral. It doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that extra height in nature. This actually, to me, felt much more real. Felt like actual violence. And we have on the front of our house, we have a pipe. I don't know what the hell it goes to even. I honestly don't. I mean, it comes from the ground and it goes into the house, but it's shaped like one of the pipes in the game that you commonly use as a weapon.
Right.
And ever since I played it, I've just looked at that pipe and resisted the urge to grip it and grab it and, beat some drug addict that was attacking me or something.
There's not those.
No, there isn't.
But yeah.
But yeah, this is a game to give a play because I like how it manages to make the violence feel visceral and personal without using a lot of blood. Yeah.
I can see that.
And that's kind of a thing that I think a lot of haunts don't get well. Is they feel like in order to make violence feel real, quote unquote, they have to have blood spurts with every whatever. And you don't.
Well, right. And imagine if you did one of the laser tag games, but you only had a limited amount of bullets.
Yeah, some tension on the ammo there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with this idea in terms of ways to make violence feel more unsettling, feel more real. And I think haunts could do well to learn from that. Okay. Game number 4 is Dead Space. At least the first two.
Yeah.
I have not played the third, and apparently I should keep it that way, is what I've heard. Here's the thing. I enjoyed Dead Space when I went through, but I kind of ended it thinking, yeah, it was pretty good. Had some good jump scares, some good moments. Blah, 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 blah. It's fine. It was adequate. And then I naffed off. And then I happened to start watching this YouTube series called War Stories, and it's computer game developers talking about the challenges they had to overcome making video games.
Right.
And they did one on the original Dead Space. And the developer talked about a scene in that game, most of it focused on one scene in which a tentacle drags your character through a long room. That's not much of a spoiler. It's been in every trailer.
Yeah.
And it's a very effective scene.
Yeah, it is.
The thing is, they go into great detail about the pacing and the tension and why they felt it needed it and what they wanted to do with it, what they were trying to achieve with it.
Right.
And then I went back and I looked at the game again and I was like, yeah, this is a real masterclass in pacing and tension. Some very intense fighting. These the slobber knocker fights where you're blowing up aliens everywhere. But then you'll have periods of very real tension where nothing's happening. It's quiet. You'll hear something knock around in the distance. Do I need to shoot that? Then, you move forward and then you hear something else knock around. And then something will drop beside you and then like on the other side of a glass partition, some horrible alien will attack and devour another human.
Right. And one of the things I found interesting is, because I watched the doc after you shared the notes, was when they were talking about how they used spawn points, it actually sounded a lot like Distracted Starving. Yeah. But with a twist, because you could take this idea of, if somebody gets scared from something here, where are they most likely to run to? And could you have two separate scares set up so that wherever they run, they're going to get scared again from that point?
Yeah, and some of this requires really watching your customer. One of the things they talked about was all the play testing they did.
Right.
To try to figure out how people respond to, like, okay, we have an alien come through a vent here.
Yeah.
Where do they go? What do they do? And like one of the things, and this was something else I'd heard, I think this was in another interview, they talked about, okay, alien comes through vent. Most people get the gun and slide backwards. Well, what if we had something else spawn right behind them?
Exactly.
And not have it immediately attack them, but do the rah right in their ear.
Yeah.
And then, oh, shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, if you have a room that's got a big pop in the line of sight, and they, your customer startles backwards, then you could have somebody waiting for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right behind them.
And they do that using AI in Dead Space, where they'll program the spawn points of the aliens to respond to what you're doing.
Exactly.
To be in like the perfect place. And this is something we actually have seen in another decent game I didn't include in this list, but Left 4 Dead.
Right.
Does something similar. It has what's called the AI director, which will spawn aliens zombies in that case.
Right.
Or the special zombies.
Yeah.
Depending upon how the playthrough is going. One person doing all the heavy lifting in the team.
Right.
Then they're going to target that player to put them in danger, so the others have to step up and rescue them.
Yeah. Things
like that. So yeah, that ability to respond to what people are doing in game or in Haunt is very, very powerful. And I remember it really did generate a lot of great moments.
Yeah.
In Dead Space. It's an excellent game. If you haven't played it, what's wrong with you? I have nothing to say to you. No, just do check it out. Okay, Game 5. Slender, the 8 pages. I have not played the commercial release sequel. It's got good reviews. People say good things. But man, have we played Slender, the 8 pages.
Yeah.
Hurricane Isaac hit many years ago here in New Orleans, and we knew we would be fine in the city, but we knew the power was going to go out for an extended period of time. So what we did is we downloaded it to my laptop, and when the power went out and the city was totally dark and the storm was still raging outside, we played Slender, the 8 pages. Terribly.
Yes.
Horribly badly. It was more like Slender to 3.5 pages the way we were playing it.
Yeah.
We were not good at it.
Not really.
But long story short, this is a free game. It's a freeware game. There's no reason not to pick this one up. And it's also a very short playthrough. The play cycle on it is only a few minutes long. But it's a very interesting study in what you can do with very little.
Yeah.
This game is a freeware game, and it shows. Don't go expecting, high budget graphics or anything. It looks pretty good, but don't expect anything too huge here. But it's very simple and very effective, and the game developers made a lot of smart decisions. Like, the tension builds very slowly. As you get when you go to get your first page, when you go to find it, everything's pretty clear. Slenderman's pretty far away.
Yeah.
You don't have, you're not at a lot of risk.
Right.
But by the time you get up in numbers 6, 7, and 8,
yeah,
that fog gets real thick. It gets very disorienting. It can be very hard to know where to go. And Slenderman is never far behind.
No.
So you need to keep planning your path to avoid him. And also, by the way, you have limited stamina. And
when you're dead, you're dead.
You were just dead. Yeah, you gotta start over.
Yeah.
And that also raises the stakes too, because if you manage to get a run that's really good and you're 6, 7, hoping to get to 8, and you really don't want to die, because even though you've only really been playing like 5 minutes or so, the tension is there. The tension is real at that point.
Oh, yeah. You'll just run and run and run to try to get away.
But yeah, it's a great study in how you can ramp up tension in a short period of time.
Yeah.
The game, like I said, starts out fairly pedestrian, fairly easy. It's a walk in the park, literally. But as you progress, that tension ramps up very subtly. Like, it took me a while to notice they were ramping up the fog each page as I got closer and closer. It took me a while to figure that out.
Yeah.
So yeah, they ramp it up super slowly, and then by the time stuff really starts going down, you're on edge. Mm-hmm. And it's like you play that when I was playing that game, especially during Isaac, with like no other lights in the city.
Right.
I felt like I needed a cigarette and a beer after each game. It would get to you,
Well, yeah, and then if you, the few times we did get on a really good run, and then we would die.
Yeah, I don't think we ever got all 8 pages.
No, we were robbed.
Yeah, I don't think we ever got all 8, did we? It can be done. It can be beaten. We've just never done it because we suck.
Yeah, I know.
Then we're playing it on a MacBook.
I know we got to 5, but I don't know how much further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing on limited equipment, too, in terms of input devices. So yeah, but definitely that is a freeware game. It's totally worth checking out. Mm-hmm. And study how they ramp up tension over time. Because like I said, even if you have a small haunt, this teaches you how to edge it upward to that big climax.
Yeah.
All right. Game 6, of course it was coming up. We spoiled it in the beginning. Silent Hill, in particular number 2, but also number 1. This is another classic, but it's one that many people get the wrong lessons from. To my mind, people think that it's all about, these super scary monsters and all this and that, when really, to me at least, what created the best tension was the use of the fog to constantly disorient. Mm-hmm. But I also really found unnerving, this is what everyone else has said too in a weird way, that the use of the uncanny valley is very unsettling, in particular the nurses.
Right. Well, and that's one of your points.
Yeah,
too,
that is one of my needle points. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Ellie was also super disturbed by that.
Yeah.
Because the nurses look human. They look kind of like sexy female humans, Mm-hmm. And then you see them the way they actually look up close, and the movements are very, very alien. It's human, but something's very wrong.
Yeah.
And this is a great template for how to build a character you can use in a haunt. Because these are wrong at 50 yards away.
Exactly.
You don't have to sit there and let them tell you the story about what's wrong.
Right.
Something's wrong instinctively.
Yeah.
And that's what's so powerful about it for haunters, is that you can have a character like this just in a room in a haunt. Everyone's going to know something's messed up.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to ask too many questions about it. You know what I mean? That person's not right. I'm deeply unsettled by them. Mm-hmm. And also, great for getting attention so you can do the scare.
Yeah.
Characters like this are great distracts because people are disturbed by it, but they can't look away from it either.
Right. And I mean, it's a lot of haunts that we go to use contortionists to some degree, but it's usually just the standard kind of routines. It's not anything. Only once have I seen it paired with the disjointed movements.
Yeah.
When you're not doing the contortionist pose. And that was actually at Terror on the Coast.
Yeah.
There was the spider guy.
Yeah. And you couple that with some Uncanny Valley makeup or something.
Exactly.
It can be really disconcerting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that more haunts should look into, because I think that in general the contortionists are underutilized.
Yeah, I've never understood haunts that have contortionists and don't look at them and go, that's Uncanny Valley as all hell.
Yeah.
We know human beings can theoretically get in those positions.
Yeah.
But we're not supposed to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I know.
I know I'm not like being mean to contortionists. It's just like,
no,
it's meant to look unsettling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So use it to its full effect. And since many contortionists are also dance trained, there's a lot of overlap between those communities, to my understanding. I mean, most of our burlesque friends, most of our we have a couple contortionists we know. They come from the burlesque community. They were heavily involved in other types of dance.
Right, exactly.
That's all I'm saying. Based on the sample size we have, which is, I think, 2, but, you know.
Yeah.
N equals 2 does not a study make. I know, Jonathan,
no.
I know. But anyways, yeah. So, yeah, and once again, check it out for the pacing. I'm sorry, what were you thinking?
No. I just thought of a great example of one from Gotham, but I can't remember his name.
Okay. I'll give you a minute. I'll finish talking about pacing real fast.
Yeah.
Once again, check out the pacing. It is a game where not a lot happens for a lot of time. You can go a long ways without much actually happening to you, but it feels like you're under constant attack because of the fog, because of the atmosphere, and because of what you've seen. Because if you want to manage that, if you want to understand how to use tension and how to build it through your rooms in your haunt,
right,
sometimes having not a lot happen is one of the best things you can do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to build that tension and let it rise a little bit, and that could be a great thing.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to figure out what I was thinking of later.
Another time.
Yep.
All right. Game 7 to talk about. And this one's an iffy one for me. F.E.A.R, but not the third, not the F.E.A.R one, not the F.E.A.R.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell it was. Mostly the first and second one in my mind. Here's the thing. I feel kind of weird including F.E.A.R because even though it advertises itself as a horror game, I don't think of it as one.
Okay.
And the reason is because to me, it was in my mind, it was more of an action shooter. But then I realized the reason it belongs on this list is because it is an action shooter. You are this badass who can raffle stomp nearly everything on the map, but it still manages to be scary. That's one of the dynamics that people don't understand, and one of the reasons why horror shooters don't often work is because if I'm the scariest motherfucker in the room, you're not going to make me afraid.
Right.
If I'm the baddest guy in the bar, I'm not scared of a fight.
Yeah.
You know? It's one of those things. And so most shooters, by design, make you the baddest person in the game. Of course, you're taking out hundreds and dozens to hundreds of bad guys without batting an eyelash, you know?
Yeah.
And you're soaking up bullet damage like it's nothing. You know, that's kind of what these games are.
Yeah.
So if you're the baddest person on the planet, there's not much you should be scared of. But what this game does is it gives an antagonist that is significantly more powerful than you.
Yeah. Well, and not only... Go ahead, though.
And can also bend reality is the main thing. That's her thing.
Exactly. And I think that some of those scenes where reality is bent can be done with different lighting, changing the lighting in Haunt.
Yeah.
Because I remember... At least I'm thinking this is the right game. I hope so. The hospital scene where you're going down the hallway and it looks like a regular hallway. and then the antagonist comes along.
And you see her at the end of the...
Exactly, and the entire feel of the room changes. And basically, it's just a lighting change.
Yeah, it goes from being bright and sunny-ish.
Yeah.
And then it dims, green lights fill the area.
Yeah.
I think it was green, if I'm trying to remember. We're talking about the same scene. I think it was green lighting. Fills the area. Things get significantly darker.
Right.
And there's a prominent lighting over her.
Yeah.
So you see her, but you lose everything between there outside of like the various shadows.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a very simple, very powerful effect. And she's someone your bullets don't work so good on.
Right.
Because if you do manage to shoot her, she just in a poof of smoke and goes away.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work so good. So she's someone also that your guns don't work on. And the reason I think this is a good idea to look at is because I think this would be something great to incorporate in like a zombie laser tag.
Yeah.
Because that's just it. I'm not scared in zombie laser tag. Why? I'm the baddest mother in the room again.
Yeah.
This is a power trip fantasy. I have big gun. Zombies are slow and stupid.
Yes.
This is not a fair fight.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the epitome of an unfair fight. Why a zombie apocalypse, especially one with slow zombies, will never fucking happen.
Right.
Sorry. Sorry, fans of slow zombie apocalypses. But yeah, you could incorporate enemies that suddenly the guns don't work. What would happen if someone appeared in a room and the gun stopped working?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that mess with some people?
That would.
And you can incorporate that story into it.
Yeah.
Now, that'd be tricky to do from a throughput. There are other things to consider, but something like that could bring some of the fear back in those kinds of attractions. So if you run a zombie paintball / zombie laser tag type thing, this is a game you probably want to check out to understand how you disempower those players.
Yeah. And I was wrong. It wasn't Gotham. It was The Flash because Ellie was watching it, which is why I got it mixed up.
Oh.
But for the contortionist, it was Ragdoll. Just look up Ragdoll, The Flash. Troy James is the actor who plays it. It's amazing.
Okay. Bonus suggestion today.
Sorry.
Sorry. No, it's good. All right.
It was driving me crazy.
It's all right. Okay, Game 8, Fatal Frame. Now, we've not played this one.
No.
Now, everything I've read is you have to go with number 2 is the best one. But here's the thing that's very interesting here. The enemies are everywhere around you in this game, but they're ghosts. You can't see them. You can't chase them. You can't hurt them. Except you have what's known as the camera obscura, which lets you see, track, and fight these ghosts. But you're limited into using it. And it uses this narrative, it uses this mechanic to tell a very complicated narrative in the universe. And honestly, something like this could theoretically be brought in for AR stuff.
Yeah. Maybe
not so much in haunted attractions, because I don't think we want people holding up their iPhones going through a haunted house.
Yeah, but customers are going to want to do that more and more. Especially, but you could do it like in the queue line.
Yeah.
Outside.
There are ways you can add AR elements like this that'd be very interesting and very compelling, but also kind of scary and unsettling. I don't think haunts have really gotten interested into virtual reality, especially virtual reality arcades, but have not explored augmented reality much.
Well, and I think that a lot of that's just because it's new.
It is new, but it's always kind of weird to me, like the technology that haunted attractions scoop up right away.
Yeah.
Like when Arduinos and that stuff came out, haunted attractions were probably the biggest buyers of them outside of Silicon Valley.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
It was crazy. Suddenly every haunter on the planet did not name Jonathan or Crystal as an Arduino programmer.
Yeah.
We like gravity as our main force. But seriously, it's like, but some things get picked up like that.
Yeah.
And other things, it's, we need to keep that at arm's length. And I think there's a lot to be explored with augmented reality.
Yeah, I do too.
And I do think, and one thing to watch for is both the latest versions of Android and iOS are doing more with it and making it easier to implement. In fact, the new iOS coming out has a new augmented reality development kit that's approachable by anyone.
Yeah.
So something to think about.
Yeah. It'd be interesting for like, if that's where instead of the 3D, they're always 3D clown things, they went into an augmented reality type thing. Because lots of times those aren't as scary.
Yeah. You could do a lot with that, I think.
Yeah.
I think your idea of the queue line was pretty good.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
There's a lot you can do.
Yeah.
And I think this game could be an excellent... Like I said, I have not played it. This is the only one I have not played at all. Mm-hmm. I think I added to this list. I'm realizing it's the only one I added that I've never played at all.
Yeah.
But it's an excellent example of how this could potentially work. Okay, Game 9. Manhunt. Mm-hmm. Now, the history of Manhunt's pretty well known to most gamers. It was a 2003 game that was so controversial, it was actually banned in many countries because it featured, basically, if you think like the Running Man movie, featured that, but with graphic, ultra-violent kills, and you were trying to please a sinister director by making the kills more violent and more gory and more horrific.
Right.
And the game sure as hell did feature a lot of the ultra-violence, so to speak.
No.
But here's the thing. I remember playing it, and I remember getting past the little tutorial level, and by about level 2 or 3 being bored with the violence mechanic.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, every time I got a new weapon, it was kind of cool to try out the new kills you could do with it.
Yeah.
But the mechanic got old.
Yeah.
In that hardcore, ultra-gory violence, ultra-gritty violence, did not hold the attention. It's an interesting case study in how hot-shotting violence and gore gets old. Mm-hmm. If every room in your haunt is super-duper gory and messed up, it loses its impact.
Right.
And the same thing with anything else you do. If you do it in every room, we've been to haunts like, yeah, we're a full contact haunt. We are going to touch you. And then in every room, you know you're going to get touched. The touch loses its impact.
Exactly.
You do it in every room. You hot shot this, and that's what the game was doing. Every single kill, if you're doing it right, is super duper violent.
Yeah.
And so by the end of the third level or so, you're kind of bored with it. You're done.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have that impact for you anymore. It's not really making you, oh my God, that's brutal. That goes away.
Yeah.
You get desensitized to it, especially in a fantasy environment like this.
Right. Now, I do like the idea of the overseer from this being brought into an escape room.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Like someone who's intentionally not going to help you. Yeah.
Or is only helping you to their own selfish ends.
Yeah. Or have two, one who's a helper and one who's not, and, play them off of each other.
I think that could get confusing, especially if their voices are similar. But I do like the idea of an overseer that's hostile to the players.
Yeah.
But in a way of like, you're ruining the TV show. Have you considered doing this to move along?
Exactly. Give the hints, but in a condescending voice.
Exactly.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Hey, asshole! I might have sworn at a parrot in one escape room and got told how rude.
Yes, you did.
That was 13th Gate. That was,
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
It wasn't 13th Gate. No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I thought it was, Mortuary.
Okay, I thought it was
in the pirate one there.
I really thought it was I think it might have happened twice then.
It might have.
I might have a thing about parrots I just learned about. Jonathan Bailey, he fucking hates parrots.
At least mechanical
ones. It's probably because I grew up with one of those little fuckers that would repeat everything you said. Was on a little perch, you push a button. Hello. Annoying little piece of shit. Who made that? Fucking monsters.
Why'd you have it?
My parents bought it.
I know,
I was a kid.
they were parrot heads.
My parents are fucking horrible people. Yeah. Well, actually, they're quite lovely.
Yeah, they are.
They just have questionable taste. All right, Game 10, ending on another game that I was not fond of, but this one has a more positive lesson. Dead Island. Mm-hmm. Now, I gotta say, like I said, I did play this one. I did not like it. I did not make a lot of progress, because even though there was a lot to love about it, the game mechanics and the combat in particular were frustrating as fuck. Yeah. I just could not get into it. It was too much of a war to play the game, if that makes any sense. The game was good, but it was a war to play it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It is a zombie apocalypse set on a tropical resort.
Yeah.
And it's not really played for comedy. It's not done. There's no, I mean, you can think of a lot of easy jokes here, I'm pretty sure. God knows I can. But they don't play it for comedy very much. It's a serious horror setting. And it works. You might think it isn't disturbing when a bunch of zombies come over through a tiki bar to get you.
Right.
But it can be.
Yeah.
We can explore, I mean, that's the thing. And what I liked about this game was, yeah, sure, it failed mechanically and in other areas, but it at least attempted to explore a different horror setting than what we see.
Right.
A much different horror setting. Because other games like, Dead Rising have done shopping malls, but then again, you know, we've seen plenty of movies with that too.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where they had a very, very unusual setting. It wasn't a laboratory. It wasn't a castle. It wasn't a dungeon.
Right.
It was a beautiful, sunny, tropical island. And it still worked as a horror setting.
Yeah. Yeah. So mix this up. Put the zombies from this over into the Kids Emporium from
from Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Dude, I gotta say, a zombie apocalypse like a Chuck E. Cheese is pretty much my worst nightmare.
Exactly.
It's not a very good game. Maybe this is one to watch the videos of.
Yeah.
Go on the YouTubes and watch some Let's Plays. But still, I love the setting of it. I love the way it came across, and I love that they managed to do it without really doing it for comedy.
Right.
Because you would expect a zombie apocalypse game on a tropical island just to be instant jokes and all that.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It's a serious zombie apocalypse.
Right.
Before we go, I do owe an apology to Japes.
Yes.
Last week we talked about the wonderful crescendo of a haunted house in Chicago, where they were hunting, where Willow was going to get us, and it led to a ritual scene at the end.
Yes.
And we misspoke. We said it was at Massacre when it's actually at Midnight Terror.
Yes.
We should have referred to our notes. We actually have very good notes from that trip. We did not refer to them because we were cocky, and we have been humbled.
By we, you mean you. No, I'm kidding.
I've learned the error of my ways. I will just read what I wrote down.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry about that, Japes. You're right. You're right.
Well, of course he was.
Of course he was. He's Japes.
He lives there. And
he's Japes.
And he planned it.
And he's Japes.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure he knows which one his
daughter's mentioned.
Yeah. I do want to go real quick to one other game that I just thought of.
Okay.
Rush of Blood.
Oh.
We played it on the PS4.
Yes.
It's
on rails VR shooter.
Exactly. But what I want to mention in that is that not only were you killing enemies, but you were also trying to shoot things that were hidden in the scenes. And I think that could make the zombie laser tag really interesting, is if you were trying to shoot special items as well as the zombies.
Yeah. And that could be something you could do inside a haunted house too.
Yeah.
With itself is that you could have a code that you have to crack.
Right.
And find that you have to get the numbers off 4 bottles or something or whatever. And the only way to do it is to pay attention to the 20-minute haunt and get all the numbers.
Yeah.
And, hey, that gets them looking in the wrong goddamn direction for your scares. People are looking for bottles.
Yeah.
They're not going to get in the right place for your scares. But also it adds another little bit layer challenge. And it doesn't have to be like a glorious prize.
No.
It can be... it can be like $5 off a coupon or something like that. A button or...
Sticker.
I won the game or whatever.
Yeah.
Something like that. But the point of the matter is, do something like that. Could be a lot of fun too. And the game itself is pretty, to me, bog standard from a mechanic standpoint.
Yeah.
It's an on-rail shooter. The VR component's pretty cool. And I do like the fact it's a seated VR game.
Right.
So I don't feel like I'm going to constantly kick over things in my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, the component there of trying to find the hidden items is pretty cool. I agree. Okay.
Okay.
Works well, and it mixes well with a horror game, so it would work well with a horror attraction.
Exactly.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, on that note, everyone, thank you very much for spending damn near the past hour with us. We greatly appreciate you wasting your time with us as we get to talk about horror video games this week.
Yes.
This has been Haunt Weekly, episode 185, all about horror video games. We are hauntweekly.com, or Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook. YouTube.com/HauntWeekly is our YouTube channel. We're also on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. And until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this has been Haunt Weekly. Once again, episode 185, all about horror video games. We will see you guys next time.